Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. Today I'm talking about some great albums I recently picked up, including one which is Scented, something I never thought I would own. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. So the first album I've got is actually my Vinyl Me Please release for the month of July, and that is Phases and Stages by Willie Nelson. I almost grabbed the 50th anniversary release that came out for Record Store Day earlier this year, so I've got the rock track through Vinyl Me Please. I haven't been all that thrilled with the last couple of releases, so I decided I'd kind of wait and not grab the RSD release and wait until I could swap and grab this one. It's a great album. If you're unfamiliar with it, really kind of interesting story. It's not something you expect from Willie Nelson, but it's a concept album telling the story of a divorce. The first half of it from the wife's perspective. Second half is from the husband's perspective. Like I said, it's a really cool album to go through, all open this up and show you what this thing looks like. It does come with this really nice Obi strip on there. It's kind of giving you the kind of overall story of the album. And then it does have this really cool art print that comes with all the Vinyl Me Please essential releases. And then this is on, I think it's like a splatter vinyl. Just kind of, so it's black, a translucent red with like a black marbling through it. It's kind of a cool looking release. So back in late June, The Story So Far released their new album, I Want to Disappear. And I was really impressed with it. I had pre-ordered a standard copy of it, and I decided to grab the deluxe version of it also. The deluxe version just came out last week. I finally got a copy of it in my hands. So it's this really cool like photo book release. And there's not a whole lot that's really deluxe to it. It does come in this nice hardbound book. On the spine, it just says, The Story So Far, I Want to Disappear, and then deluxe. So it's kind of cool. And then to flip through this, if you open this up on the inside, that's what the front cover of the album looks like. And then this is just a bunch of photos. I'm assuming it's all from around the time from the recording session. It's kind of cool to kind of flip through, though. I kind of would have liked some interviews or something additional in there, but like I said, it's kind of cool to flip through this. And then the album itself is on this really cool looking, if I can pull it out of here. I think they had this listed as smoke vinyl is what they called it. But it's just a translucent like gray with some black through there. So it is a great album. And this is kind of a cool release. Like I said, for the money I paid for it though, I would like to see a little bit more on the inside of that book. There's an album that just got reissued that I'd had on my want list for a while now, and that was Spend the Night by the Donnas. I'm a big fan of the Donnas. I love some of their earlier stuff, though. So this is their major label debut. I kind of like their first couple of albums a little bit more than what they do on this album. You know, it's got, I think, a little bit more like almost like a mainstream kind of sound on this one, even though this is like their biggest album. And I understand why. I mean, it does have some really great tracks on here. But like I said, I love a little bit of the raw sound that's on their first stuff. But I was really happy to finally get a copy of this. I know I think it's 2022. This got reissued as a 2 LP release, and I missed out on that one. I missed out on the pre-orders, and those sold for like over $100. So I wasn't going to spend that much money on this album. But I will grab a copy of it for like $25 off of Amazon. So there was 2 different versions of this I know got released. This is the pink version, which this is the one I pre-ordered off of Amazon. And then after I got this one, I found out that there was a record store, I think this was from Zia Records, had their own exclusive release of this, which is on this really cool looking gold vinyl. So I can pull this out here. So a lot of times when you've got this like wavy kind of gold or silver look to these albums, a lot of times they can have some like underlying like surface noise. This one actually sounds pretty good though. I do have like I see it's got the kind of the rippling through the color there. It's like a gold foil. So I do have I think it's like a Motown number ones compilation that looks really similar to this, and that has like, it's really not noticeable, but like through the like quieter parts or in between tracks, you can kind of hear that like underlying background noise, which I don't know if it has something to do with like the way they press these albums or like the foil that's in there or how they do that coloring that kind of causes that little bit of a surface noise to them. The next album is one that, you know, when I did my Tuesday new release video, I kind of laughed about it. I talked about how it wasn't a great album, but it's got a lot of nostalgia for me. Really kind of takes me back to the early part of the 2000s. And that's The Gift of Game by Crazy Town. This album had never been available on vinyl before until just within the last month or so. Finally got released. There's been a bunch of bootlegs of this over the years. I've almost grabbed a copy of it a couple of times. I've always decided, look, I'll hold off and wait to grab an official pressing whenever they do it. And there's two different versions of this. There's like a purplish kind of color. I thought the yellow looked a lot better, so that was the version I went with. But I will say, going back through this album, I probably haven't listened to it probably a decade. It's actually a little bit better than I thought it was. I remember, of course, Butterfly was the big track off here, but there is some other good tracks on this album. I also decided to pick up the recent release from the Interscope Vinyl Collective, which is Rocksteady by No Doubt. I remember when this album came out in 2001, I was kind of in a different place musically. I loved the earlier stuff from the band, but, like I said, by the time this came around, I was listening to, I was really heavy into punk and, not really kind of listening to this kind of music. So it's been several years, from the time this got released until I finally got around to checking it out. And I was pretty impressed with it. So when I saw they were releasing this is through the Interscope Vinyl Collective, I had to grab a copy of it. Even though I hadn't been a member for the last couple of months, I didn't grab the couple of releases that came out before this one. This was a really cool one. I'll kind of open this up and show you what this one looks like. So the front cover of this is all mirrored. It's got a mirrored finish to it. And so does the back where it says Rocksteady. It's got kind of a mirror finish to that, which that kind of looks cool. I'll show you the front cover there. And that's the back. And then this is a gatefold. Some cool pictures in there. All the liner notes with the same kind of like chrome finish on there. And then the records themselves are on, I think it's pink and blue vinyl. So there's the pink version. I'll leave it in the sleeve. It's in a sleeve, so just, don't drop me a bunch of comments complaining about the way I'm grabbing this record. But, that's the pink one. And then it's just a solid blue also. So I went through some of those kind of fast because I really wanted to get to this last one. I'll probably spend the most time talking about this last release. But I think this is the first release from the label Made by Mutant. So these guys they were part of Mondo. When Mondo was bought out by Funko, these guys left, started this new label with Elijah Wood from Lord of the Rings. He's been a bunch of other stuff also. But this is I think this is the first big release from this label. I love this movie. So I'm assuming they're kind of focused on soundtracks the same way Mondo did. And this is the one I teased about in the beginning when I talked about scented albums. I never thought I would have a scented album before. I didn't even know this one was scented. But this is the soundtrack for Wonka. And this has to be some of the best packaging I've ever seen on an album. So it comes in this foil. Here, I'll open this up so you can kind of see it a little bit better. I will say that the packaging on this looks awesome. But this is a complete pain in the ass to wrap back up. So I ended up putting this in an outer sleeve. I took the albums out and put the albums on the back side of it, just because you won't be able to open this up multiple times and keep the records inside of it. So this has a sleeve on the outside of it, which comes off. This is packaged like a Wonka candy bar, if you've ever seen the movie before. So this is the soundtrack for the new Wonka movie. There's the front of that strip, and then the back. And the foil on this thing, I'll show you the back of this, where it's all kind of taped together. I did my best to kind of fold it back the way it was, but it's like once you open it up, it's near impossible to put this thing back together the same way. So that's why I didn't want to have to reopen this thing multiple times. So the foil on this opens up, like I said, just like you're opening a candy bar, and then it slides out, and that's got the normal album artwork. There's a standard release of the soundtrack that has this artwork also. It looks cool. It's all gold embossed across the front of it there. It's the front cover. There's the back cover of it. And then this is a gatefold also. So it's the inside of the gatefold. And this thing, not only do the albums smell like chocolate, like the inside of this thing, as soon as I open up the package, you could instantly smell it. And I think it's really on, I don't know if it's on the albums themselves or if it's on the insert here, but that's the insert that comes along with it. That's the front of it. And then this opens up with all of the liner notes on the inside of it. So I thought that was just really cool design, really cool packaging. Like I said, I mean, this thing smells like you just opened up a fresh, brand new chocolate bar. It's just, like I said, really interesting. I'd love to see what Made by Mutant is going to do down the line with some other releases. I'll show you the records, the way they look also. So this is it's the yellow and orange. It's the second disc that comes along with it. And then I think this is the first disc. The first disc is brown and white. So they kind of stuck with the whole chocolate theme. These things smell like chocolate. The packaging smells like chocolate. It's just a really interesting kind of release. So yeah, now that I got it all back in the wrapper, I will say that this thing looks really cool, but I'm not sure how practical it really is. Honestly, I think 15, 20 years from now, it's going to be hard to find this release with the foil still intact, because I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to want to fuss with that, so they're just going to take it off and throw it away, slide the records back in the jacket, and just be done with it. But like I said, this is a really cool release from Made by Mutant. I'd love to see what they've got planned for the future. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Love to know what you guys have recently picked up. A lot of really cool releases out there. I know the new Jaden album. I've been listening to that a lot also. Some cool stuff coming out over the next couple of months. But let me know what you guys think. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.